Alright, let's get to work on this beautiful Elgin Pocket Watch. This is a not a high jeweled pocket watch, but it's very nice. The case is amazing on this thing, right? So it's I'm very impressed by it. I have a little bit of light going on here, but I think the first thing I want to do is get some of the stuff out of here, because I don't want the jewels to be in the way. See if this opens this way. Yeah, there we go. So just quickly, and as I move the crown around, I just want to make sure there's no gear issues. The last one I worked on, there were gear issues on that, so I'm just going to swing it right through to the, again to the 12 o'clock, or actually both hands would be pointing at the 9 o'clock position. I know the kids nowadays can't tell time, so they wouldn't be able to fix watches. So I want to have it in this position here. And then let's just see if I can pop open the crystal. So work on the crystal. I just have to switch glasses. I use these glasses here to do watch work. They're ×3 here, and I think I've got about a ×5 loop on there. And then if I want to get up really close, I think this is a ×7 loop that I put on when I want to get up really close. And I just lower my chair just a bit to get at it. And this is for pocket watches. When I'm working on watches, it's another story altogether. So just examining the edges here. It looks like somebody made a mark right there in the past, probably trying to open the case or open the crystal, and everything else looks okay. I'm trying to see if there's any marks for, if this is like a 10 karat gold or what it is, to see if there's any indication on it. But we'll look at that in more detail later. And I just want to very carefully find the edge here. So I'm going to get in close here and see if I can find the opening edge. I think it's right there, right here. That came out real easy. That was weird. Anyway, there it is there, and that's a plastic crystal, I believe. It doesn't sound like it's glass. That's a plastic crystal, which is pretty common back then. Maybe not in 1912. Oh my God, it was a long time ago. So there we go. There, I'm going to take the power off of this watch. I do not want to work on it while the balance is swinging away, because I want to be able to remove the second hand and not have to worry about the balance being in the way. So I just use a toothpick here to remove the power from the watch. And sometimes I will just push that in, and sometimes I will use my screwdriver in here as well, because it's damn hard to get a toothpick in here sometimes. So, because the toothpick is not as sharp as a screwdriver, and I kind of gotta get it out of the way. So I think I will use a screwdriver, and sort of a medium blade yellow. It's probably going to do, and I just want to be very careful here. And there's a small groove right there that you use, and that just gets everything out of the way. And then I just let this ride back on my fingers, and I'm trying not to let the teeth of this wheel touch my screwdriver at all. Oh Jesus, scared me. So it flung back a little there, but it's not too bad. It just loosened up on its own. And if for some reason that happens and you end up uncoiling or something, or the safety pinion lets go or something like that, then the safety pin, usually there's safety pinions on this, and that saves the center wheel from transferring the power to the rest of the watch. So that is out now. So I just want to pull this out. When I pull the crown out, I usually hold it with these fingers here, and then I hold the side like this, so it gives it perfect control to pull it out. Then you can back it off a little bit and then pull like that. Is that right? Usually it works immediately. So, and when it doesn't, my fingers are sore. That's not coming out easily. So let's switch hands here, see if it works better this way. No, that's in nice and tight. I'm not sure why. Let me try it again. Oh, the problem is it's really hard on my fingers. So, and I don't want to hurt my fingies doing this. So let me just, I'm going to pause this while I got to take my glove off here to do it. It's not working. All right, we're back in business. I took my glove off here so I could get a grip on this because this material tends to slide a bit, so it was very difficult. And I also closed the watch down a bit. And of course, by opening it up like that, it closed the crown down again. So, wonderful. All right, gotta take my glove off again. All right, the glove is off. The gloves are off. Isn't that what they say? The glove is off, and the case is sort of semi-open. And I'm hoping it'll grip enough that I can do this. There we go. Got it. Now I'm going to put my glove back on, and I'm going to use the infamous glove Bugs Bunny blowing up the glove trick that you've all seen. There it is. You ever remember watching Bugs Bunny and he said whoever has the biggest hand wins when he was with Yosemite Sam? Or as my wife once called it, Yosemite National Park. I still bug her about that. But Yosemite Sam, whoever has the biggest hand wins. So there we go. So now I can move these hands back. That's what I wanted to do. These hands are like really, they're almost touching, right? When I slide them over, these hands look like they're almost touching. So it's way too close for government work. So now I got to get a piece of paper here to lift the hand for the hand lifters, and just slide that underneath. I got the world's biggest piece of paper for hand lifters here. This is just a little sticky notepad. Sticky notepad. I got to get my hand lifters out. Sure if I should use my new ones or not. I got these ones out of China, right? And they were supposed to be Bergeron or Bergeron specials. They are wide as hell, so yeah, they're nice. It popped it right off, no problemo. So that worked quite well actually. Some of the things I don't have out yet. I got dirty Rodico as my. Somebody commented you get the world's dirtiest Rodico, and I said, well, I don't usually use the dirty Rodico for doing anything specific, right? So I'm going to put the hands in the in here for now, so they're safe. I'm picking the hands up on the end. I'm picking the hands up on the part where they attach to the center wheel, or the hour wheel. And then now I've just got to remove the hands for the second hand here. And again, I think I have the world's smallest piece of paper for removing second hands that I've already used to cut for another second hand. So the camera angle might be wrong here because I want to be able to do this properly and not screw things up. Plus, I don't have my tools out yet. Usually disassembling the watch is not the hard part. It's putting her back together that can cause all kinds of trauma. There we go. Now, I don't know if the hand removers will help me here, because usually they're a little trickier with the hand remover on the second watch. The second hand. No, that worked. So that's good. And just pick that up out of the watch and put that aside. And I learned years ago to put everything away from you, or else it will stick to you and you will end up dropping it on your carpet, and then you're on your hands and knees looking for crap on your carpet, which is not good. So, and I will get myself a clean piece of Rodico for this work. There we go. That's cleaner anyway. It's not too bad. And it looks like there's little stains on the inside that I might be able to remove with Rodico, but I'll worry about the case later. So there the case, the crystal's off, the hands are off. And I'll just open the back up again, and again use my fingernails so I don't leave any marks on the case itself. There's a little scuff on the edge on the inside of that case, but it's nothing serious. And I just need to remove the 2 case screws here. Case screw 1 and 2. And pick the right screwdriver. Here I've got the purple screwdriver, which is a bigger blade. And these screws come out pretty easy. And again, I'll just throw that on the plastic crystal for now. It's not going to make any marks on it, so you don't have to worry about that. But usually I'd throw these into the movement itself, right? But in this case, nay, nay. Alright, so that's out, so the watch should just drop right out the back. Nice and easy. Throw it onto the gloves like this, and then you just move it back like that. So, and there's the case. It's a Belmont case. It's a very beautiful case. I wish I knew what the heck, whether this is gold or rolled gold or what, but it's a very nice case. It's a shame it's not telling me any of this. So I'm just going to put this case aside now, and I'm going to put it on a piece of paper. I got a business card in the back here, so I just rest it on that for now. So there it is. Now I want to take, I think I want to take the balance off before I start farting with stuff, right? Because I don't want to mar the balance at all. So if I take the balance out, I know that I'm safe. So I'm just going to very lightly put this down on this movement, in this movement holder. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I changed my mind. I'm going to get out my Binford 4000 gel holder. Alright, I got the Bergeon 5395. This is actually gel on the inside. You can see it when you push it down. It's got a spongy kind of stuff on it, which is really great because you can put the movement down on it and not worry about anything going wrong. It shouldn't poke a hole in it, hopefully, but I just want to make sure the face is safe while I do this. I thought again about putting the movement into the movement holder that I've got, the number 58 movement holder, which is the best movement holder in the world. And I'm looking for my double balance holder with the bucket. This one here, because I throw that in the bucket. That's my dual balance holder. It's a thing of beauty. You can see it on the top camera there. And that dual balance holder works so well. That's loosened up, and I just have to go like this, and then lift that up like that, and then tip the watch slightly, and I can just throw this on the balance holder for now. Find a hole and then lower it. I'd like to take a little bit more material off of this because it's a thing of beauty, but I think it would be, the reason I had these openings here was so that the balance could rest on the openings. So it doesn't make any sense if I put the balance down and it's not able to rest on the openings. So I will unscrew those. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, and then get on my lathe and start taking material off of one of the sides so I can lower that balance enough to be able to take the stress off of the movement. So in the meantime, I was with the other balance tack I was putting in a little piece of material like that, but even that's not high enough for this. And I know for this balance tack, which was my prototype number 1, with the material down, like so, right, that might work, because it goes down pretty low with this one. So, but nay, still sitting there. So no, it's not working. So, but it's okay hanging on the balance for now like that. I can also throw something on the top of my the amazing balance cleaner. I'm trying all kinds of stuff here, by the way, just so I can rest that balance down and take the pressure off the hairspring. So if I take it on the amazing balance cleaner, which is, as my wife told me after watching the last video, she calls it the dunk tank. So if I throw this on the dunk tank like that, and I gotta lower the dunk tank, I think, just a bit more. Yeah, I think that's low. So I'm lowering the dunk tank right now, and then put the movement down. Is it too squishy here? It's not too bad. There's absolutely zero stress on that balance, that's for sure. But I think that this side of the dunk tank needs to go lower. The amazing dunk tank, that's what she calls it. Actually, you know what? That's perfect. So that's an adaptation. I need to have a piece of metal I just put across this thing here, and then so that completely rests the balance. So there's no stress on the spring, on the hairspring right now with this, right? Completely resting the balance. So let me just move this aside very carefully, like this. Just put this off to the side, so it's out of the way, and I can take that little screw and throw that in the dunk tank. There we go. So just toss that in, move this out of the way. Got to fix that, lower those, because it's not the working as intended. All right, now the next thing you have to do is remove the dial screws, and usually the yellow screwdriver. Get this stuff out of the way again. Get a hairy arm. These actually aren't too bad for pocket watches, but I just want to get in there and remove the dial. The dial's in mint condition, and I want to keep it that way. So all you do is you loosen these dial screws up a little bit, and I don't mind holding the dial or the movement with my fingers a little bit on the edge, because this is going to be cleaned anyway. So I'm not sure how many dial feet there are in this. I think there's 3. So it's not too bad. And you just loosen the screws up, and then after I take the dial out, I will tighten those screws back up again. So that's pretty shiny. The lighting here is good, but maybe too good. I should fix it so you can see it just a little bit better, right? Alright, I darkened the exposure just a bit so it's easier to see, but I just need to wedge the screwdriver in here to get the dial up from it. So it's, and I believe the screws have been loosened enough. Let me get a bigger screwdriver here. This one is not doing well enough. Seems pretty crunchy, like it's been there for 300 years. Alright, this one here seems to be a little bit tight for some reason. So let me just loosen this a bit more. And just, I'll look on the mat later to see if I've left any dial screws. Yeah, they might be a bit deeper than I thought. So I'll just undo them. You don't want to undo them completely though, because you'll lose them. Alright, is that good enough now? That is the question. See, the balance is out of there now, so that's the trick, is to get that balance out of there so you can work on the watch and not worry about fouling the balance or the hairspring. Then you got a whole other job ahead of you. This does feel sticky, like it's been there for 1,000 years. I usually use my thumbnail to get it out, but there we go. So there it is. There's the feet, the dial feet. They seem pretty short, like snubby, but maybe that's the way they were made. And so this Elgin watch has one hairline crack on it that you cannot see unless you're up close. So it goes from here all the way up to there. Let me have a look. Yeah, it's one long hairline crack on that dial. It's really not visible when you're looking at it quickly. All right, I didn't think there was any problems, but it's just ever so slight. So it's not worth worrying about. And then I've got the hour wheel needs to come out, and with that will come the dial washer as part of that. And then again, just to get the Canon pinion out while I'm in the right mood. And I think I got to lighten up the video again. All right, I'm going to use my Jaws of Death here, Canon pinion removal tool. This usually works quite well. So it sort of protects the movement. And I've seen people grab these Canon pinions with tweezers and pull up on them and stuff. I don't like doing that. So this is a little safer. So there we go. And as you can see, I can just dump the Canon pinion down here, and it comes out without any harm at all. Right, then, I usually take a photograph of the watch on the inside just so I can make sure that I can remember what all this stuff looks like in case I got to dive in deep. So there we go. There's the photograph. So I'm going to strip the plate on the other side, and everything looks fine there. It looks fairly clean on this side. Doesn't look like there's a lot of issues here. There's one cap on the escapement here, and it looks as though the banking pins are adjustable, which is kind of odd. So I'm going to get in a little closer for this work, just so you can see what's going on, and just focus my lens. And I have fixed focus cameras, and that way I don't have to keep refocusing all the time, or when it's automatic focus on there, it becomes a little tougher. So, and again, there's all kinds of springs and stuff like that, and usually if they're clean, I don't need to bother taking all that out, because I really worry about when you've got a pocket watch that's this old, is it going to be a problem, right? So now I've got the Canon pinion sticking down, or the hour wheel, the center wheel actually sticking down. So I don't actually want to have that on this nice pad. So you can see it's pointed right there, and that'll go right through the pad. So I want to take this off like that. Just put this nice and snug in here. I don't need it to be too tight, right? And the power is off of this and this, so I'll leave the wheel train the way it is right now, and I'll remove this. And it looks like there's 3 screws to be removed, and I think that's a little bit to get the right screwdriver again. When I was in the Army years and years ago, they always said the right tool for the right job. So the first thing I want to do is remove some of this. So move the ratchet wheel. I think that's called a ratchet wheel. Sometimes these go left, sometimes these go right. I'm never really sure, but they're usually pretty tight. Yeah, I wish they would write on them which way they go, because that's a pain in the butt. Anyway, I need a thicker screwdriver to do this. I could look it up. What I don't want to do is split the ratchet wheel, or take the screw and turn it the wrong way and then just take the head off the screw, because that's nasty. Oh, this thing was tight as hell. So that ended up being righty loosey, lefty tighty. So turning it to tighten was loosening it. I stripped the head off of one a while back, but I had a replacement one, which is pretty cool. So because I have 1 million screws. So in this case here, the best way of getting this out is just to grab it with some Rodico. Just lift it straight up. That should come out nicely. There you go. So there we go, and it exposes the inside there. And then this wheel usually turns, lefty-loosey, counterclockwise. So There, that was easy as hell. And I'm also going to use Rodico on this too. And you can twist the Rodico to take it out as well. And just to make my life easier, I usually match the parts up with the screws. That way I don't have to worry about where the parts need to be when I'm finished this, right? So it's a pretty watch though. It's a pretty watch. So I'll make the disassembly video here first so you can see it being stripped down nicely. And another thing to watch for is if the screws for the plate are a different size, then it can give you like a different depth. Then you got to make sure that you match the plate and the screws. So you just do 1, 2, 3 and then 1, 2, 3. So here they look like they're the same size, so it won't be causing me that problem. But you want to make sure they're matched properly. Like that. Take the screws out one at a time, like this. And then on the side, you should usually see something that allows you to wedge that in there. So you take a smaller screwdriver, and then you get in there where no one can see. So if you go on the inside like that, nobody can see the inside. And it just lifts straight up. Look at that. And that center wheel is tucked under there, so you don't need to deal with that right now. But the winding mechanisms, these here, can come straight up, right? So that should just come up like that. And I'll grab this. And I take a picture of that too, because I don't want to have any problems reassembling it, which shouldn't be an issue, but I usually take a photo of that stuff just to make sure I don't have a problem. I know exactly how it needs to go back in. And there's some crazy palms and stuff like this for winding and stuff in here. So now I probably could remove the barrel here. Let's move that off the side here. Now I get the center wheel won't come out unless I take the secondary plate out. And grab the right screwdriver to do that again. And that center wheel will lift straight up. So this watch is not too bad taking apart. But I know there's a problem with it because I know that there's a jewel that is correct. So we move this plate over like that. And it's this jewel right here that's the cracked jewel. So I will have a look at that under the magnifying glass, my stereo microscope rather, and see if there's anything I can do with that. So the good news is all these screws look like they're around the same size. So you go on the inside here, like I said before, where the other plate is attaching to it, and if there's any marks at all, just a tiniest little mark on the plate, it's not going to show because you're on the inside. So if you go on the other side, then you got an issue, right? So before I do anything, I take a quick picture of that, which is what I recommend. And then if there's any odd configurations that you need to deal with, you can easily deal with it. There we go. Photo is taken, and now this should just lift straight up. I'll take it from the edge where the main weight is. So that's straight up like that. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4 in depth. So that's 1 straight up. 1, 2, that's the intermediate gear. Or that's actually, sorry, that's the second hand gear. This is the intermediate gear and then the second hand gear. And then 3, that's the escapement. I can clean that. And then the pallet fork, you want to take the pallet fork out and clean that as well. And gotta get the right screwdriver here. It's too thick a screwdriver, you'll scratch the top of the screw, which you don't want to do. Alright, and as I said before in some of my other videos, you put a whole lot of force on it before you do any turning. You don't press down with the force, you just put force on it. That way, when you turn it, there's no major issue. And that lifts straight up and out of the way. And if you do it that way, just like I did there, you're not going to have any issues with the pallet fork getting damaged. Lifting that straight up, out, so you don't want the pivots in the pallet fork. And there's the banking pins. Like I said, on the other side of that, the banking pins, there's screws, so you can actually adjust the banking pins. So there you go, it's stripped down. As I said to Bori before, sometimes it just ain't worth removing all of this stuff because those springs are old, and you do chance breaking one of these springs, and it looks really clean. So I'll clean it up with lighter fluid, and then I'll oil it really well. But I will remove this little plate here. I gotta get a different screwdriver because I want to remove that the minute wheel there. So, and then we're done. We're done at phase A is finished. I'm gonna get my glasses on here. But this watch really doesn't look that dirty, which is pretty amazing. So maybe it was just never used. And the thing is, the fact is, the cases that they're in are, if it's just sitting there in the case for 100 years, and it looks like it was just sitting there in the case for 100 years, then it's pretty hard for dust and grime to get in there, right? So I don't know how that would happen. But again, pick this up with Rodico is probably the safest thing to do. And then the wheel as well. You don't have to worry about that. So, and let me look at all that. Yeah, these are very unique springs on this watch. Yeah. And the jewel here that can be cleaned up. What I do usually is I'll wash this watch in lighter fluid completely, and then I will remove the cap for the balance cock, or the balance jewel. That'd be the lower balance staff goes in there, the pivot, but that's the lower balance cap. And I think I can just pop that out and clean it. But the first thing I'll do is clean the watch, and then I'll do that. So I might do that all in the same video, maybe. Don't know. All right, when you want to remove the mainspring and clean that up as well. So there's a little groove here to pop the cap off. So you can stick your screwdriver in that groove. Make sure your screwdriver is not too big. Trying to find something that's going to go in there and not bend anything. But I've seen with the smaller watches you can just push down and they pop up. But for the bigger watches you need to make sure I get the right groove here. No, that was the wrong groove. So this groove here is where the T-bar of the watch, the mainspring watch comes through, because it's over here as well. So there's two of them. So this here groove here is the one I wanted, not the other groove. So there we go. So I just popped it up out of that. And again, I always take a picture of the mainspring so I can remember which way to wind it back in. So I don't have those issues. So there's the mainspring, and I'm going to uncoil this mainspring by hand, which is a fun job, I got to tell you. So I don't think I can do it with a glove on, but maybe I can. I don't know. Don't know yet. I'd like to take the arbor out. I think it's just going to fall out, which means that this mainspring, I could probably crimp it a bit, so it's going to stay in place a bit better, right? So I'll put that over on the side and put that there. And now to take the mainspring out, you got to kind of walk the spring out. So you may not be able to see it on the small camera, but I'll try to do a good job to keep this in view. So let me just move the camera over just a bit so you can see me walking the mainspring out. So I just grab it with a screwdriver on the edge, like this, very carefully, and then get your thumbnail under the spring, like that, and then you're able to just go around like that. And I just happen to have great thumbnails for doing this, so it's a trait of mine, having really nice nails for doing watch work. Take a little bit more of it out, and then once you get enough of it out, then you can go back and forth and walk it out, which is what I'm trying to do right now. So, and this mainspring looks like it's pretty set. That's what it's called when the mainspring is just sitting the way it is and it's set. So this thing will fly out in your face if you don't walk it out slowly. So there we go. So yeah, this mainspring's been sitting there for 100 years, so I think it's pretty darn set. And that'll just pop out now. Now I think I can bend that backwards, but in reality what I should do is get a new mainspring, or find a new mainspring for this watch, because that's what you call a set mainspring. So, and what'll happen there is that it will not give enough power to the watch. So you know, when you want to just to give you an idea of ordering a mainspring, let me just see if I can get a better focus on the mainspring here. So yeah, I want to order another mainspring. You got to measure it properly. So you're trying to measure the strength of the mainspring, the length of the mainspring, the width of the mainspring. So the strength is how thick it is here. So I'd measure the thickness of that mainspring first, and then I'll measure the width of the mainspring, and then I will estimate the length of the mainspring. Usually it's something like 400. For this type of watch, it would be 400 millimeters in length. So let me just do it for you and show you how that's done. So here I've got a digital micrometer, and this micrometer goes from 0.001 millimeters to 25 millimeters. So it's pretty darn accurate. So, and this is the best way of doing it. So in this, when you store a micrometer, it's recommended not to leave the battery in the micrometer. So I take the battery out after every use, just so it doesn't get worn out. And I've got a little area in the micrometer box where the battery just sits, and I can throw that in nice and easily, carefully throw the battery down, and that'll sit down there, and then I tighten that up with the back of my screwdriver, and there you go. I got, as you know, I've got a bunch of micrometers. I got a nice bench micrometer, the vintage bench micrometer, but this one will be the simplest thing. So I'm holding the micrometer like so, and I'll hold the knob back here because that zeroes it out for me. So there's readings here on the micrometer, but I can ignore them. So because I'm just going to read it off the screen, I want to make sure it's set to millimeters. So I want to tighten this up and have it like this, and then I zeroize the micrometer. So now it's 0. And now I take the mainspring, and I have to take basically a piece of mainspring here, and I want to make sure it's as straight as it can be, right? So I can straighten that up just a bit, like that. So that's straight enough, right? So I can put that in the micrometer. I'll hold the micrometer up just a bit, and then squeeze the mainspring in there. So just open up the mainspring, put the piece of, or the micrometer rather, put the piece of mainspring in, and then tighten it. And let me see, it'll give me a reading till it turns so it's 0.207. So I'll write that down. So that's the strength or thickness is 0.206, it says now. 206. So that's close enough. Yeah. 0.206. And now I want to know how wide it is. So I can go anywhere on this and to measure the width. I do have the third hand that I normally use, but I'll just for the sake of videotaping this, I'll do it this way. So I'll just slide that mainspring in there like that, make sure it's as level as possible, and then squeeze down on the micrometer nice and slowly. 2.636. So as you can see, it's in there nicely. That's 2.636. So that would be the width of the mainspring, 2.636, and then the length. If you want, you can measure the barrel outside diameter, because that'll help you, because they will ask for the barrel and outside diameter. Let me just fly that right out here. Just hang on a second. But usually if you've got the width and the strength and the barrel, then you can assume that you got enough to order a new mainspring. And I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm going to go on a website to do it, but I'll show you how I do it. Just hang on. So I want the barrel. So that's the outside diameter of the barrel. Let me just get that in closer. Yeah, so it's 17.46. 17.46. So that's barrel. I'll just put bar. 17.46 millimeters from end to end. And now I do have to verify that, because you don't want to be wrong with it, but something that's 17.46, and you know that I think a third of the mainspring should wind around in the volume of the barrel, and 2/3 should be empty. So I think that's the general rule of thumb. So it's pretty close when I tightened it. So now I can take the battery out of this thing. So tighten this up, loosen it just a bit like that, tighten it up, and then remove the battery. Now, just because I have a little bit of anal retentivity, as they call it, I've got another power fist micrometer here, also measures in millimeters. So I can put that in here, and what I want to do is measure the inside diameter of this. So it should have went on. It looks like it was going to go on. Maybe I don't have this in properly. It's in now. And then just roll that over. There we go. So what I want to do here is, I have a rubber band on it, so it's not going to work very well with a rubber band on it. So let me take that off. That rubber band was to keep the battery in place. So there we go. So that's working nicely. And I just hit 0 on that. And now I can do an outside-inside measurement. So now this here allows me to measure the inside of this barrel, like so. So I pick the widest part of the barrel and measure it, like this. And it says the inside of the barrel is 16.1 millimeters. Right, so let me just turn the barrel a bit, measure it in another place, and see what that is. 16.0, 16.1. Seems to be pretty consistent. So I'm thinking this is 16.1 millimeters. So no matter where I measure it, it's 16.1 millimeters. So again, barrel, it's 17.46 on the outside, but really you want the inside. So 16.1 millimeters. That's the barrel inside. Shitty printing, but anyway. Barrel inside 16.1. 16.1. 16.1. Just keep marking it all over the place here. And just to see how accurate my other micrometer was, I just measured the outside here. And it says 17.6. 17.6 where I'm measuring it. So I think now 17.5. So I think if I pushed a bit more, it would be 17.4. So the other micrometer was bang on, but you want the inside of the barrel to order it, right? So, and then I will show you, because people have always asked me, where do you get mainsprings? How do you order mainsprings? So I'm going to just bring up the website I order it from usually. So because I live in Canada, I pay all kinds of duties when I buy things from the US. And yes, I did say the word duty. And they charge me for border duties and all kinds of crap. And I don't know why, but they do. It's the American way of getting money back and the Canadian way of getting money back. So both border people on both borders like to charge me money for stuff. So where I go is I go to Cousins UK to find my mainspring. So I want to hunt. I'm on the hunt for Red October. I'm on the hunt for this mainspring. This one here. The length of it's probably about 400. So let's go to the hunting here. All right, there I am, Jacques Shalak, the great lumberjack from the great north, going to be ordering the mainspring of the watch pocket. Oh, enough of that. So if you look in the bottom right hand, you see the Cousins UK Wholesale. That's UK. I've got 8 things here I got to deal with and 0 things in the cart. That's usually good. So on top here, on the top right, you see the strength is 2.206. The width is 2.636. The barrel inside is 16.1. And the length's probably around, I'm going to want it to say 400. Now the bridle for this mainspring, if you look at the bridle for it, it looks as though it's a double bridle, like a T here. And I looked inside and there's a notch and a T. So on the inside of this, of the barrel, there's a notch and then a T. So I'm going to try to find a double bridle mainspring. Could be tricky, may fail, but this is exactly how I do it. So if I fail, I just keep hunting. So there we go. There's my little mouse here. So to find this, you go here, quick navigation. You go down to watch parts, I think. Where is it? Watch parts. Where are you? I went there already. There we go. Watch parts. And then you go to non-branded down here. So go to watch parts and non-branded. And then you scoot down to mainsprings. And this is Mainspring's bridle pocket watch. Bridle's pocket watch. But I usually go to mainsprings by size. And then it brings me to this page. Then, I'm going to add that to favorites because I go there a lot. And then it says mainspring height. So I called it width, but they call it height here. And 2.6 is what I'm looking for. So what you do is you type and get my typing device keyboard. So you type. So I wanted 2.6 something, right? Sometimes this is an art to find this. So it's 2.60 and 2.65. So you do not want the mainspring to be taller than the barrel because you won't be able to close the barrel cap. So you want to pick 2.60, right? That's your first thing. Then the thickness, which I also call the strength, these are leftovers from my searches from the past. 0.206 is basically 0.2. So if I put 0.2 in here, what am I going to get? 0.2, nope. Well, 38 results matching 0.2. Holy crap. That's a lot of 0.2s, ladies and gentlemen. There's a 0.2 here, and it's not going to give me 0.206. I know it. 0.206. Let's see if I find anything. Nope. So 0.20 is what I'm looking for. And I get 0.205. 0.205. So I'm going to take that because that is close enough. I didn't think I would get that close. I still might not be able to find the mainspring. So that's 0.205 I got, which is pretty good. The length, like I said, the length could be 400, but if I can't find the length, can I find the barrel diameter, right? So if the inside barrel diameter is 16.1, 16.1, right? And hit go. It's not giving me anything, so 16 might be good. There's 16.5, I don't want that, so that's 16. I might be able to find the right one without putting the length. It's probably around 400 though. So enter the watch mainspring type. So this is a DBH, I believe. If I look up top here, I'm looking at DBH, which is a double bridle, right? And let me look at that one more time so I don't screw it up. Yeah, it's a double bridle. And I'm going to just go in close and zoom in so you guys can see what a double bridle looks like, right? And it's not two brides standing next to each other, okay? That is not a double bridle. So there's a double bridle mainspring. See if I'm too close or too far. And you'll see right here, it's how thick that is there. And then there's an opening on the end here, like that. So that's a double bridle. So it's a DBH mainspring. So I'm going to just focus on the bottom one again whilst I'm a-talking. There we go. So double bridle mainspring. So I'm looking for a DBH, so I go back down here. I'm just hoping I find the right thing. And if I don't, so this is a DBH special end, right? Search, no results found. So there's nothing I can find there so far. So if I go up here and I say, okay, I still want 16, that's important. The barrel diameter is important. 16.5, I might be able to do it with 16.5. So if I clear this and I hit 16.5, right? Because that's not much of a difference in the diameter, right? And I hit search on that again. And I will look for a double bridle special again. Search for items, no results. I may want to list stuff, so I think what I'll do is try to lessen the search here. So I'm going to clear one of these out. So I know what's important is the 0.02 is probably not as important. So I'm going to clear that out and say it's 0.2 and go down and pick 0.2 again. And this is what you do. So 0.2 is probably okay for his strength. 0.60 is good for the height. I can't have it any more than that. If I had it 0.6 or 2.61 may be okay, but not. But it's not listed here anyway. So 2.6 is fine. I could probably do a 2.5, but 0.2 is perfect, right? I'm not putting the length in there. I did put the barrel diameter in there, but I might be able to search and see what the end result is. No results again. So then I'll just do this. I'm going to clear this diameter and search all and see if I can find anything here, or am I shit out of luck? Well, there we go. So I've got two DBHs here. I got a 2.60, which is good, right? I've got a 0.20, which is excellent. I've got a 540, right? And I've got a 17 on the barrel size. Now, I had 17 barrel size of 17.46, right? Which probably is okay. That's a pretty big barrel. So 17, but the length of this is 540. So this might work. This is probably going to be close enough, and it's a DBH, which is nice. This one here is the same 2020. It's 600 and 18, which is not right. So I think the barrel diameter. So I'm going to go up and have a look and make sure that my barrel diameter is right. But the first thing I'm going to do is add that to cart. All right, there we go. The order was placed, and they'll ship that, and it'll be in Canada within a week or a little bit more maybe, but usually it's within a week, which is great. Now we'll get a mainspring that's got the right strength, and it's not this really crappy mainspring that seems to be set, it's called. And there's no way to unset a mainspring like that. I could stretch it out, hoping that the metal would, you can take a mainspring like this and you can work it backwards like that if you really have to, right? And that kind of stretches it out a bit. But that really won't, the metal's already been set, so that'll come back right to set position once again, right? So this probably had one of the main reasons why the watch was not giving me a good amplitude, because the mainspring was not really good. So, and on watches, when you're repairing a watch, if you can put in a new mainspring, then do it. It's worth it. It's worth the effort. So as you can see on the right hand side, that's the Cousins UK wholesale. It's cousinsuk.com, and I just ordered the GRDBH mainspring. So it's got the special end on it for this pocket watch. As I said before, it's a 2.6 by 0.2 strength by 540, and I got the 540 because that was what was available, but it says it's a 16 millimeter barrel, which is perfect, or 17 millimeter barrel, which is perfect. I had 16.1 on the inside, but I think you measure it on the outside, I believe, but it'll be good enough. So that'll be a nice mainspring. So that's a cost of 7.3 pounds UK. So probably about 10 bucks, or I'm not sure what the pound of the dollar is, but so like say around 10 bucks plus $3 shipping, $4 shipping. So that's not bad. You got to wait about a week for that mainspring. So what I'll do is I don't want to be cleaning this watch and letting it sit around in the dust. So I'll store this watch and wait till the mainspring comes in. But in the meantime, I'll have a look at that jewel and see if I can do anything with that specific jewel and the jewel problem that this watch probably has or might have. So thanks for watching the video. I'm going to post this right now. And the next video you'll see will probably be a cleaning and reassembly, or maybe the jewel, work on the jewel or something. I'm going to put something on there. But I got the Canadian French add-on, so the people going to look at the spring main for the watch pocket, and then we're going to do the cleaning of the watch pocket, and followed by the putting together back of the watch, and then we do the testing of the watch and the timer of E, and make sure that all the specifications of the watch are accurate, and then we are ready to finish the servicing of the watch, if you know what I'm telling you, people out there. Thanks a lot, and welcome to my channel. Please hit the hello on the mark and the little thumb there.